Hey, Beard. Alright, just waiting on these PV1s to get loaded in. Also, hello to everyone else. Hopefully everyone is having a fine Saturday afternoon. Take this time to get my radio programmed. Hello, Christian. Hey, Cope, how's it going, brother? You miss PV1s? God, you really have been gone for a minute, haven't you? Got the first snow that's actually sticking for the year? Nice. And it's been getting a little chilly up here. Been getting down into the 30s and shit every night. Christian, we just had like a kind of a fun op. The guys were basically a bunch of police that were very well armed. We just did a nighttime mission without NVGs and shit like that. It was pretty cool. We were gonna use the zombies mod and shit. It just wasn't working very well. Hey, Vert. Well, Beard, I am sure it will be quite the grand return. So unfortunately, I do not have Myers with me today, so I'm gonna have to do a lot of fucking talking today. Alright, gentlemen. Welcome to OSUT Class Alpha. We're gonna get this going. I am obviously First Sergeant Brewer. I am the senior instructor for this class. My assistant instructor is not with me today. That will be Sergeant Myers. He will be with you tomorrow, actually taking my place because I will not be here tomorrow, as tomorrow is my anniversary. As far as OSUT goes, this is a 4-day course. Each day you are going to be learning something new that builds upon what you learned the day before, all culminating in your Day 4 FTX, or Field Training Exercise, where we will take you out, put everything you have learned to use, and then at the end, we will get back together, debrief, go over what you've done right, what you have done wrong, and critique your performance in that FTX. We will then move on to your oral quiz. That oral quiz is a go, no-go exercise based upon everything that you have been taught in OSUT. Now, you are allowed to use notes on that oral quiz, so I highly suggest, if you have not already, make sure you have a pen and a pad of paper ready. Should you fail that oral quiz, you will be recycled back to day 1 of OSUT, and you will have to retake all 4 days. However, I guarantee you, if you take notes, there is no possible way you can fail that quiz. Now today, we are going to be going over 2 of the most important things you learn as a trooper. We're going to teach you how to communicate and how to shoot. We're going to be going over radio protocol, proper pro words and phrases, how to actually set up your radios, program them, and so on. Then we are going to be going over some weapons familiarization. Get you comfortable with the different weapon systems that we use here. Now, if at any point in time, either one of you have a question, or a comment, or a question, you will type a Q in chat, just like that. If you have a comment, you will type a C in chat, just like that. Do not at any point in time interrupt myself or one of my instructors. Is that understood?
Yes.
Roger that, brother.
Alright. Any questions before we move on?
No questions, First Sergeant.
Negative.
Alright. What we're going to do now is we're going to head over to the classroom. As I said, first we're going to be going over communications, how to program your radio, and so on. So we're going to head over to the classroom. Before you enter my classroom, you will halt, remove your cover, stow it inside your uniform. When you walk into the classroom, on your left, there will be a table that has radios on it. You will walk up to that table, each grab one radio, and then walk up to the front of the classroom and each take a seat at the front of the classroom. Follow me. Yes, Coach, she does know, but we had to, kind of move things around for babysitting. I gotta love that bug.
Hey, First Sergeant, I'm having a hard time picking up a radio.
Hey, hidden. All you gotta do is look at the radio, wait for the little white hand to pop up, and press the space bar. Alternatively, you can look at it and move your scroll wheel and grab it.
Roger that, First Sergeant.
Alright, gentlemen. Firstly, I want you guys to hold Control on your keyboard and press P as in Papa. That will open up your radio. Now you guys see that big green ANPRC 152 radio on your screen.
Roger that, First Sergeant. Got it.
Alright. Now I'm going to take you through what each button on this radio does. So first and foremost, starting from the top, that middle stalk with the numbers on it. That is your volume knob. Alright, you right click it to increase volume, left click it to decrease volume. By default, it is always on 80. 80 is a pretty good volume, that's where I generally leave mine at. It's loud enough to hear over top of firefights, but it's not so loud it's not gonna rape your fucking eardrums. Beneath that, that light green rectangle, that is your display. That display will provide you with two pieces of information. First, the channel. Secondly, the frequency. Understand that a channel and a frequency are two different things. So it will say C1, which stands for channel 1, and then a random series of numbers after that. That is the frequency that that channel is tuned to. Below that, we have the actual field of buttons. At the top right, you will see the CLR button. That is how you clear a frequency. If you click that, it removes that random series of numbers. Directly beneath that, you have the ENT or the enter button. That is how you set a frequency. So when you clear a frequency and type a new one into that display, when you press ENT, it sets that frequency. Directly beneath that, you have the PRE button. You have PRE plus and PRE minus. That is how you change channels. Plus goes up, minus goes down. Alternatively, you can use the numbers on your number pad to quickly change channels. Next to that, very bottom row, you have a right facing arrow. That is the speaker's key. Do not ever hit that fucking key. At no point in time will you ever set your short range radio to speakers. Reason being, if you set that short range radio to speakers, every time someone keys up on that radio frequency, it will be broadcast to everyone around you. Very often, it causes a fuck ton of feedback, which will cause those of us wearing headsets to want to rip your fucking head off. So don't do it. Next, you have the left facing arrow. A left facing arrow is how you will set an additional channel. This is incredibly handy for people in leadership positions. Anyone who is a fire team leader or above listens to multiple frequencies at one time. Lastly, the very bottom left corner, that 0 button. That is the stereo settings button. That is where you can make it so that a frequency is heard through only one ear. Again, incredibly handy for those in leadership positions. Now, as far as the rest of the field of buttons goes, they don't do anything. Alright, so it is just the outer ring there along the right and the bottom. Now, before we get too far into this, understand that a lot of the times you will hear someone refer to a net. The net they're talking about is the frequency. A net is a frequency. Just shorthand for frequency. Alright, so if someone says fire team net or squad net, platoon net, they're talking about the radio frequency that they use. Now, when it comes to actually speaking on the radio, there are a couple different techniques that the military uses, mostly for something known as brevity. Brevity is essentially saying a large amount of information without actually speaking a lot of words. It's incredibly important. You get on the radio, send a shit ton of information, and get off the radio as quickly as possible. Reason being, at any point in time, there could be anywhere from 4 to 8 people that need to say something on that radio frequency at the same time. Granted, that would be incredibly rare, but you never know when someone needs to send information at the same time you do. So you need to get that information across quickly, and then get the fuck off the radio. So, first thing we're going to go over is phonetic numerals. Now, phonetic numerals are not really used for brevity, they're more so used for clarity. Phonetic numerals are just the same as normal everyday numerals with 3 exceptions. Those are the numbers 3, 5, and 9. 3, pronounced phonetically, is tree, like the thing with fucking leaves on it. 5 is fife, F-I-F-E, and 9 is niner. Everybody knows that one. Now, phonetic numerals are not used all the time. Alright? Phonetic numerals are used when someone cannot hear you clearly. Alright, so if you say 3 to someone, and they respond back and say that they did not hear you clearly, then you would say tree. You do not need to say tree, fife, niner every fucking time you're saying 3, 5, 9. Next, we have phonetic alphabet. And we use the NATO phonetic alphabet. NATO phonetic alphabet is very simple. You have probably heard at least parts of it a lot. Alright, consists of Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, so on and so forth. Not going through all 26 fucking letters. NATO phonetic alphabet, very, very fucking simple to learn. That being said, do not confuse it with any of the other variants, especially like the civilian variant that uses Bob, Charles, and all that goofy shit. We use the NATO phonetic alphabet. That you will hear a lot. Now moving on from phonetics, we then move into pro words and phrases, or procedure words and phrases. This is where brevity really comes into play. The first one we're going to go over is break. Right, break means I hereby indicate the separation of this text from other portions of the message. Right, think of it as a period in a sentence. So if you're sending a long message and you need to stop and take a break, then you would send the first part of your message, say break, let go of your transmit key, take a fucking breath, hop back on the radio, and continue sending your message. When someone says break, that means they are not done transmitting. So don't put your fat fucking thumb on the transmit button and start talking. Next, we have break in a succession of 3. Right, so someone saying break, break, break. Break, break, break is a way to break communications on that radio net so that you can send information. Right, so it's a way to break in to a conversation. What that is used for is priority and emergency traffic. And yes, there is a difference between priority and emergency traffic. Emergency is higher priority than priority traffic. So, as a quick example, say someone is speaking on the radio net that you need to send this information on. And the information is that you just had a T-72 roll up 50 meters from your position. It doesn't matter who is talking on that radio frequency. That's an emergency situation. So you would come over that radio, key up right over top of them, and say, break, 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 emergency traffic. As soon as they hear break, 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 they're immediately going to stop talking. Does not matter what they were saying, what they were doing. When they hear break, 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 everybody is going to stop talking on that radio frequency. You then send your emergency traffic. All right, you guys tracking on that?
Tracking, First Sergeant.
All right. Next one we have is correction. Correction means an error has been made in this transmission, and the transmission will continue with the last word correctly sent. All right, so if you are transmitting a message and get something wrong, don't fumble fuck over your words and say, just go back to where you were last correct, take a breath, get your fucking zen on, and send the rest of the message correctly. All right, so you'd be sending your message, you fuck up, say correction, go back, continue sending your message. Next one, disregard. All right, disregard is something you're going to hear a fairly decent amount. It's just as it sounds. You disregard it. You act as if you never fucking heard it. Very, very simple. Next one, I read back or read back. This can be used as an order given or also as a response. Right? So in the example of order given, if I was reading or if I was giving a grid coordinate to someone, I would say, move to grid 160168, read back. They would then respond with, I read back grid 160168. All right, it's basically a way to confirm information sent. So as an order given, when you say read back at the end of your message, it's telling them to read back everything that you just said to them. And then they would respond with, I read back everything you just sent to them. Very, very simple. Next, we have say again. Say again is incredibly important. Say again is a way for you to tell someone to essentially repeat everything that they just said. Now you may wonder, why do we say again instead of just saying repeat? Answer is very simple. Repeat is used to tell a mortar section or our aviation section to repeat a fire mission or a CAS call. So we use say again. So if you need someone to repeat themselves, you do not say repeat. You say again. Because again, repeat is used for fire missions and CAS calls. It tells them to rerun the same fire mission that they just did. Now I will tell you this. This gets seared into everyone's fucking brain, so much so that the majority of people do not even say repeat in everyday normal fucking conversation. That starts here. Because I can guarantee you this. If at any point in time you say repeat while you are in my class, I will immediately drop a mortar on your nutsack. Is that understood?
Roger that, First Sergeant.
Alright. Next one is over. Over means this is the end of my transmission to you and a response is necessary. Go ahead and transmit. Alright. Over is used at the end of every message that you send until that conversation is over. Next one is out. Out means this is the end of my transmission to you and a response is not necessary or expected. Right? Means that conversation is over. Done. Understand that over means something completely different from out in a sense of pro words. Right? Over means I need a response. Out means I do not need a response. Right? So if you think of a radio transmission as a phone call, when someone says over, that's them finishing their sentence and allowing you to speak. When someone says out, that's them hanging up the phone. Now, in proper radio protocol, the initiating party or the initiating calling station is the only one who says out. Right? So the person that started the radio call is the one who says out. They are the one that decides when that call is over or done. I'll try to say done so it doesn't confuse you. Now the only time there's an exception to that is when it comes to higher. Alright, higher being your command elements. So if someone is in command of you, there is a possibility that they will out you or they will end the transmission before it was done. Now, that doesn't happen that often. However, it can happen due to the fact that higher, often listening to multiple nets, may have priority traffic coming in on another frequency. So they need to out you and get the fuck off the radio with you so that they can continue on with the rest of what they are doing. So again, over means something completely different from out. So do not ever say over and out on the fucking radio. That is made up Hollywood bullshit and you look like a fucking idiot when you do it. So don't say it. Next, we have Roger. Roger simply means I have heard you. Alright, that's it. I heard you. Very simple. Then we have Wilco. Wilco means I have heard you and will comply. Alright? Hence Wilco, will comply. Wilco is a response to an order given. Roger is a response to information received. Right? They mean two completely different things. Roger simply means I heard you. Wilco means I will comply with the order you just gave me. So, just like over and out, don't ever say Roger Wilco on the fucking radio. Made up Hollywood bullshit. They mean two different things. Next, when it comes to actually speaking on the radio, when it comes to starting a radio transmission, one of the most important things you will ever learn is this phrase. Hey you, this is me. I want you to memorize that phrase, sear it into your fucking brain. Hey you, this is me. That is how you're going to start every radio transmission. Hey you is saying their calling station. Alright, everybody has a calling station. It is not a fucking call sign. It is a calling station. The call sign for the entirety of the infantry company of this unit is Havoc. Every single individual has their own calling station on the radio. Their calling station is essentially their name on the radio. Or if you're old enough to remember CBs, it's their fucking handle. Now at a fire team level, your calling station is simply your name. You know, whatever your last name is. That's your calling station on Fireteam Net. As a fire team leader and above, you then have your own individual calling station. All right, it is unique to you and your position within the unit. So, for instance, Staff Sergeant O'Leary, who is joining me today. Staff Sergeant O'Leary, your calling station is what?
My calling station for Sergeant is 3-1.
All right, so Sergeant O'Leary is the squad leader for Havoc 3-1. So his calling station is Havoc 3-1. That is what he is known as on the radio. He is the only 3-1 in the entirety of the unit. My calling station is Havoc 7. I am the only Havoc 7 in the unit. So if anyone says Havoc 7 on the radio, they can only be referring to me. That is it. So if I were to say, hey you, this is me, to Staff Sergeant O'Leary here, then that would sound something along the lines of, Havoc 3-1, this is Havoc 7. Now, if we were out in the field and he were to hear that on the radio, the second he hears Havoc 3-1, he knows that person on the radio is talking to him. And then when he hears this is Havoc 7, he now knows it's me that is talking to him. Now we work on a call and response system. So when you call someone on the radio, if I were to call Sergeant O'Leary, I would say Havoc 3-1, this is Havoc 7, and then wait. I do not immediately start sending traffic. Because for all I know, he's in the middle of the most hellacious firefight of his life, and he did not hear me at all. And if I'm trying to pass along pertinent information, he's going to miss all of it because he is not ready to receive my traffic. So I wait. Havoc 3-1, this is Havoc 7, over. Wait. He would respond back. Havoc 7, this is Havoc 3-1, send traffic, over. And then I would send my traffic. Alright, you guys tracking?
Tracking first, Sergeant.
Affirm.
Alright. Now, as I said, calling stations are something where, when it comes to the individual part of having your own calling station, at a fire team level and above, that's where you have your own calling station that isn't your name. So, fire team leaders, squad leaders, platoon leaders, so on, they do not ever use their name on the radio. It is only ever their calling station. At no point in time will you ever hear them say their name or someone else say their actual name on the radio. All right. So alpha team leaders in a rifle team or even in a weapons squad, alpha team leaders in a rifle squad are only referred to as alpha. Bravo is referred to as Bravo. And that's the team leader. So Havoc 3-1 Alpha, the Alpha fire team leader for Sergeant O'Leary, only refers to himself as Alpha on the radio. Alright, nobody ever uses his name. Now the rest of the fire team, they all use their name because they don't have a normal calling station. All they have is their name. So on Fire Team Net, you are going to hear guys saying names. But on Squad Net and above, you're never going to hear somebody's name. Now, next part we're going to move into is doing radio checks. Radio checks are one of the most important things that we do. Reason being, radio checks ensure that you have proper two-way communication with the rest of your team. And you're going to do a radio check every single time that you go into a server. Without fail. Every time you will do a radio check. So it is something that you will get a shit ton of practice in. Now, in order to do a radio check, first and foremost, in order to transmit on your primary frequency, so your channel 1, you would use the caps lock key. In order to transmit on an additional frequency, you would use Tango. Alright, so always remember, caps lock is primary, Tango is additional. Now another thing to keep in mind is that any time if you're going from transmitting on your primary to your additional, you have to give it a hot second in between hitting caps lock and hitting Tango. If you let go of caps lock and immediately go over and hit Tango, there's a good chance you are going to continue transmitting that message on your previous frequency. Alright, you have to give TFAR time to disconnect one frequency and open up the other one. Same goes vice versa if you're going from tango to caps lock. You have to give it time to disconnect one frequency and open up the other one. Alright, you guys tracking on that?
Tracking First Sergeant.
Alright. So what we're going to do now is go through and actually teach you guys how to do a radio check, how to speak on your radio, and so on. So, looking at your radio, that light green rectangle, that display, alright, it still says C1 random series of numbers. That button at the top right corner, the CLR button, I want you to click that and clear out that random series of numbers. Once that's cleared out, in that display you are going to type in 100.1 and then click the ENT button and set that frequency. Once that frequency is set, you are then going to go down to the very bottom left button, that stereo settings button, and click that once. You should see it pop up in the box there, left ear only. Now once you have done that, I want you to hit the PRE plus or hit the number 2 on your number pad and go to channel 2. So it'll say C2 and a random series of numbers. Again, I want you to hit that CLR, clear that frequency out, type in 100, and then click ENT and set that frequency. And once you have that frequency set, I want you to go down to that left facing arrow, that set additional channel, and click that. That will change that display from Charlie 2 to Alpha 2, letting you know it is now an additional frequency, or an additional channel, sorry. So it should say Alpha 2 100. Once you have done that, that bottom left stereo settings button, you are going to click that twice. That will make it so that your additional channel is heard in your right ear only. Now this is important. Anytime that you set up an additional channel, you need to make sure that you go back to channel 1 when you are done, or whatever your primary net is. You cannot leave it on your additional channel. If you do, you won't be able to hear your primary channel. Alright, your additional net is additional. It's the only one you can hear in addition to your primary net. So make damn sure anytime you set up an additional channel, you go back to your original primary channel so that you can still hear it. Alright, you guys tracking on that?
Tracking First Sergeant.
Alright, so now you should have Alpha 2 100 all set up, and you should be back on Charlie 1 100.1. And now both of you should hear me speaking to you in your left ear, correct?
Affirm.
Now both of you should hear me speaking to you in your right ear, correct?
Affirm.
There you go. That is how you properly set up your radio and an additional channel. Very, very simple. But again, very handy for those of us in leadership positions. It is very common for us to listen to 2, possibly even 3 radio channels at the same time. It is something that takes practice, and it is something that you will eventually get used to have multiple people talking to you or talking in general at the same time, in one in each ear and possibly even one just standing in front of you talking to you. And you will learn how to pick out pertinent parts of those messages that pertain to you. Right, it is, again, something that takes practice, but it can be done. Alright, it is nothing for myself on during large OSUT classes. I will listen to 4 or 5 radio frequencies at the same time. It's good practice. It sounds like utter fucking chaos, but with enough practice, you can figure out what people are saying. Now what we're going to do is move on and have you guys actually do radio checks. So, to do a proper radio check, firstly, remember the "Hey you, this is me" phrase. Alright? When you do a radio check, you don't know who else is on that frequency. So it's pretty difficult for you to call a specific calling station because you don't know who else is there. So, in that situation, you call to an open net. So, instead of, hey you, this is me, of a specific person, it would be any station this net, this is, and then your name or your calling station, depending upon what net you're doing a radio check on. But for you guys, it would be any station this net, this is so-and-so radio check. All right, stop there. We'll break it down. Any station this net. All right, any station meaning any calling station. So anybody on this radio frequency can respond to this message. This is, and then your calling station follows. All right, so it's still, hey you, this is me. But again, because you're not calling to a specific calling station, it's any station this net, this is so-and-so, and then radio check. All right, then it continues on. This is so-and-so, radio check, frequency, 123, over. All right, so any station this net, this is so-and-so, radio check, frequency, whatever frequency you're doing the radio check on. All right, first and foremost, get in the habit of calling individual numerals. Do not say radio check frequency 100.1. All right, it's very easy to misunderstand what someone says when they're spitting out triple digits and shit like that. Use individual numerals. So, radio check frequency, say you guys are doing it on your primary net, radio check frequency 100.1, over. All right, you say over at the end because you need a response. You need them to respond to you how they heard you. All right, that's the next point that I'm going to bring up. Radio check is another pro word. It is asking for the strength and readability of your transmission. So for that reason, you do not need to say how copy at the end of your fucking radio check. It is redundant. Don't do it. You look like a jackass. So, again, to go over all of it one more quick time. Any station this net, this is so-and-so, radio check, frequency, 100.1, over. Then you wait. Someone will respond back. So-and-so, this is so-and-so, read you, Lima Charlie, frequency 100.1, over. Alright, so they respond back with the same, hey you, this is me. Because you always want to know who is talking on the radio. So if I was doing a radio, if Sergeant O'Leary just did a radio check, I would respond back, Havoc 3-1, this is Havoc 7, read you, Lima Charlie on frequency 100.1, over. Alright, so I say again, or read back to him the frequency that he is doing the radio check on, so that he knows, okay, yep, they're responding on the correct frequency. I'm all good. I respond back to him with the strength and readability by saying Lima Charlie. Shorthand for our phonetic for loud and clear, or LC. All right. You can also use the numerical system or numerical scale of 1x5 to 5x5. 5x5 meaning loud and clear, 1x5 meaning broken and unreadable. Alright, but generally you're just going to get this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, read you, Lima Charlie, frequency 100.1, over. Now they said over because they need a response because they did not initiate the call. You initiated the call. So they will not say out, they will say over and sit there and wait. So, once they respond back to you with the strength and readability of your transmission, you will then respond back to them. So-and-so, this is so-and-so, solid copy, out. That's simple. That is the end of your radio check. Alright? You guys tracking on that?
A-firm.
Alright, you better be because you're about to do it yourselves. So what you're going to do is on your primary channel, right? That is using caps lock. You are both going to do a radio check. You're going to start with Bateman. Bateman, you're going to start the radio check. Randall, you're going to respond back to him with his strength and readability. Then Randall, you're going to do yours, and Bateman, you're going to respond back with strength and readability. All right? Sounds simple enough? All right. Whenever you're ready, go ahead.
All stations this net, Bateman radio check 100.1, over.
Private Bateman, this is Private Randall. I read you loud and clear, over.
Randall, this is Bateman. Tango Mike, out.
Any station in this...
Hold on.
I fucked up, First Sergeant. I know I did. I didn't give the frequency.
Yep. You didn't read back the frequency to him. Alright. Not a horrible fucking mistake. Just keep that in mind. In addition, you did very well there. Just, again, make sure you read back that frequency. And before you actually key up the radio and say anything, alright, just take a second. Get your fucking zen on. Think about what you're going to say. And then key up and say it. Alright, there's no rush. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Any station in this net. This is Private Randall. Radio check on frequency 100.1, over.
Randall, this is Bateman. I have you, Lima Charlie, on 100.1. Over.
Private Bateman, this is Private Randall. Solid copy, out.
There you go. Perfect. Now again, the only time you're going to be using your name is on Fireteam Net. Right, so don't get in the habit of doing that necessarily. But it works for now. Bateman, go ahead.
You don't need to say the rank when you're talking on a squad net, for an example, correct? Or
No.
Fire team net. Copy.
Alright.
Understood, thank you.
Any other questions?
Negative, First Sergeant.
Alright. Now, understand that, as I told you, radio checks are something you're going to get a shit ton of practice at. You guys did a good job here, but it would not be the first time that someone does fucking outstanding on the first day and then they fumble fuck all over it on days 2, 3, and 4. So, you'll get plenty of practice at it. Do not fucking fret about that. That being said, understand that these radios are hands down the most important tool that we have. Alright? Yes, they are more important than that fucking rifle that you carry. Alright? Our ability to send and receive information with a fucking quickness is much more important than that guy with the rifle. If we are not able to send and receive that information, we can't do what it is we do. You cannot put 60 guys into a server all at one time and have no communication in between all of them. It will fail every single fucking time. So these radios and being able to speak on them properly is incredibly important, and it is the only reason that we are successful. Because if we do not drill home proper fucking radio etiquette, it dissolves into a goddamn madhouse. So understand that this is something that you will continue to work on throughout your entire time in the unit. Now moving on from communications, we're now going to go on to some weapons familiarization. Now before we actually head out to the range, we are going to cover some lecture shit to get you familiarized with kind of the specifications of the weapons. Now the first thing we're going to cover is actually a couple of optics. The first optic we're going to cover is the RCO, or the Rifle Combat Optic, or Ranging Combat Optic, as I've heard some people fucking call it. The RCO is the standard optic that you guys are going to be using. In fact, it's the same one that I have on my rifle now that you can see. RCO, or as oftentimes you will hear it called the ACOG, is standard issue for the M4s. Now the reason that we cover the RCO is because it has a very distinctive sight picture. And that sight picture is something that you're going to grow very fucking familiar with. And it consists of essentially what looks like an arrow. Alright, you have the arrowhead at the top, and then you have the shaft going down vertically. Now, that arrowhead, along with the horizontal lines along that vertical axis, are very important. So the head of that arrow, or the chevron, All right, at the tip of it, it is ranged at 100 meters. Middle of that chevron is ranged at 200 meters. Base of the chevron is ranged at 300. And then each horizontal line going down the vertical axis, the number next to it, guess what? Corresponding range. Okay. Now, the reason that is important, the distance in between that chevron, between the base, or the distance from the end of that horizontal line going down the vertical axis, represents the width of 19 inches at that given distance. Either one of you have a guess as to why the width of 19 inches is important to us.
Wouldn't that be the at the distance of the range of a human body at range for start?
It's the width of an average man's shoulders. Alright, so 19 inches average width. So, what that means is, with that optic, if you line that optic up over a man, military age male, anywhere from 15 to 50, line that fucking optic up over top of him, and if that number 4 line touches from shoulder to shoulder, you now know that guy is roughly 400 meters out. Alright, it is a quick way to not only range a target, but also start engaging them. So, as a fire team member, you sure as shit don't need to pull out your vectors and start getting ranges on foot mobiles. You can use your optic. You can still send fairly detailed information just by what you see through your optic. Now, we also, for the machine guns, use the MGO, or machine gun optic. Now, the M145 MGO is just like the RCO in the sense that it can also range optics. The difference being that instead of a horizontal line that you line up over your target, the horizontal line goes across the entirety of the sight picture, and there is a gap in the center. That gap is your 19-inch mark. All right, so instead of putting a horizontal line over the target, you line them up inside that gap of the horizontal line. So the same premise, just done a little bit differently for the MGO. All right. Any questions on how either one of those optics work?
Negative for start.
Negative.
All right. Excellent. So that being said, first weapon system we're going to move on to is the M4 carbine. M4 carbine is standard issue for the United States Army. Everyone here carries one, with exception to machine gunners and some pilots. Now, the M4 is a lightweight gas-operated, air-cooled, magazine-fed shoulder-fire weapon that can be fired in either the semi-automatic or fully automatic variants. It has a maximum point target range of 500 meters and an area target range of 600 meters. Now, did either one of you have a guess as to the difference between a point target and an area target?
Suppression versus effective fire.
Essentially, yes. Point target is accurately engaging a single target. Area target is engaging the area of that target, suppressing them. All right, very, very simple. Now, when you do get a chance to look down that RCO that we were just talking about, you will notice from the 500 meter mark up to the 100 meter mark is red. The rest of the sight picture is black. It's for that reason, alright? Red is dead. That simple. So anything inside of 500 meters, you can accurately engage. Next weapon system we're going to cover. The M320 grenade launcher. The M320 is a UGL, underslung grenade launcher. Now it can also be used in a standalone handheld variant, however we never use it. You'll only see the UGL version. Now we also use the M203, which is what I have on my weapon system. Essentially, well, in ARMA, the 320 and the 203 are the exact same thing. They use the same ammo, everything. The only difference is the sight picture and the ranging of it. The 203 only ranges to 250 meters. The 320 ranges to 350 meters. So we use the 320 for training. It is arguably the better weapon system, hence why the military switched from the 203 to the 320. But the 320 is a lightweight 40mm grenade launcher that is capable of firing multiple different munition types at a maximum range of 350 meters, or maximum effective range of 350 meters. Now, effective range does not mean the weapon system will not fire beyond that. Okay, I've engaged targets at 500 meters with a 320. It's not as effective because it's nowhere near as accurate, and the flight time on it, you might as well fucking mail the grenade to them. But it does not mean it's not deadly. The same goes for any rifle. The M4 is deadly well beyond 600 fucking meters. But the 320 is effective from 350 meters and closer. Now, as far as the different types of munitions it can fire, firstly, it can fire HE, or high explosive. You then have HEDP, high explosive dual purpose, which is more so used for entrenched enemies, bunkers, buildings, vehicles, stuff like that. You then have smoke. However, unfortunately in ARMA, 40mm smoke does not work too well. It takes a lot of practice to be good with it, because oftentimes you'll fire 40 mic smoke out there 200-300 meters and it'll bounce another couple hundred meters before beyond where you want it to actually land. So it does take practice to get good with it. Next, we have Hunt IR rounds. Now, Hunt IR rounds are essentially a 40mm grenade, but instead of a explosive warhead at the tip of it, you have a camera, and at the ass of it, you have a parachute. So you will chuck a 40 mic out there in the Hunt IR, and the parachute will deploy, and it will slowly fall back to the ground. Now, someone with the tablet can connect to that camera and see what it sees. Now, you don't really have to worry about those per se, because platoon, HQ, and above are the only ones that carry them, are the only ones that are allowed to carry them. But keep in mind, you're out there in an operation, covering a sector, and you see something floating down from the sky under a white parachute, don't fucking freak out. It is not the aliens invading. It is not enemy fucking paratroopers. It's a goddamn camera. Don't shoot it. Lastly, we have illumination rounds. Now, you may think illumination rounds are pretty fucking silly considering we all have night vision. But I can tell you from personal experience, when the fog is crazy fucking thick, night vision does dick all. Illumination is your best fucking friend. Alright, any questions on the UGL?
Negative.
Negative, Sean.
Alright. Next weapon system we're going to cover is the M249 Squad Automatic Weapon, or SAW. And I should mention, the 320s and the 203s, the UGLs, are carried by grenadiers and fire teams, as well as some squad leaders and above. So it's not like the Marines, where every team leader has grenade launchers. Next, we have the SAW, which is carried by SAW gunners, or automatic riflemen. Oftentimes you'll just hear them called SAW gunners. Now, do not confuse an automatic rifleman with an 11 Bravo machine gunner. An 11 Bravo machine gunner is something completely different. They carry the big boys. SAW gunners are simply 11 Bravos who happen to carry the M249. Now, the M249 is a gas-operated, air-cooled, belt or magazine-fed automatic weapon that fires from the open bolt position, has a maximum rate of fire of 850 rounds per minute, with a maximum area target range of 1,200 meters. Yes, I did say magazine or belt fed. You can put an M4 magazine into the SAW. However, the SAW does not have select fire capability like the M4 does. Right? It is full fucking rock and roll mode only. So you will rip through a 30 round M4 magazine ricky goddamn tick with a SAW. So that is used in extreme emergencies only. Generally, SAW gunners are going to carry 200 or 100 round belts. Now notice, when I gave you the range, Area target range is 1,200 meters. There is no point target range for the SAW. Reason being, SAW is a suppression weapon. Now, that does not mean you can't engage an individual target. But when you fire a SAW, you do not fire an individual round. You fire in bursts. Generally in a 3 to 5 round burst. And you rake that burst across their body. You do not tap fire it or whatever other stupid shit you learned in CSGO. You fire the SAW in burst. Now generally, or at least this is the way it was taught to us, when you fire the SAW, you do not aim at their chest. You do not aim at their head. Your initial burst, you aim at their kneecaps. Either one of you have a guess as to why you aim at their fucking kneecaps?
Muzzle climb, First Sergeant. Muzzle climb.
Exactly. All right, recoil of the weapon is going to carry it up their body. So you start at their kneecaps, you finish at their sternum. Pretty simple. Next weapon system we're going to cover. The M240 Bravo medium machine gun. This is what's carried by 11 Bravo machine gunners. The M240 Bravo is a belt-fed, air-cooled, gas-operated, fully automatic machine gun that fires from the open bolt position. Unlike the SAW, which is chambered in the 5.56 NATO round, the M240 is chambered in the 7.62 NATO round. So it is the bigger, badder, meaner brother to the SAW. And the range reflects that. The area target range for the 240 Bravo is 1,800 meters. Alright, so we'll reach the fuck out there and touch somebody. Hence why I affectionately call it the big black dick of freedom. Now the 240 Bravo, as I said, is carried by 11 Bravo machine gunners in a weapons squad. Each weapon squad has 2 machine gunners that carry this weapon system. So every platoon has 2 of these 240 Bravos that they can put to work. Alright, any questions thus far?
Negative, First Sergeant.
Negative.
Alright. Now we're going to move on to shoulder fire munitions. First one we're going to be covering is the M136 AT4. The AT4 is a lightweight, self-contained SLM designed for use against the improved armor and light armor vehicles. Now this consists of an 86mm rocket that is a single-use tube. It is a pre-loaded fiberglass wrap tube. So what that means is, when you grab an AT4, it already has a rocket inside of it. Once you fire it, you throw it on the ground and leave it. It cannot be reused. It's a single fire weapon. Now we're going to go over how to actually fire it and so on and so forth later, but again, keep in mind, once you fire it, throw it on the fucking ground. There is no need to carry around an empty AT4 tube. Now AT4s are carried by half of the riflemen within the unit. The other half of the riflemen will carry the M72 Law. Now the M72 Law is kind of the little brother to the AT4. It's a smaller round. It does not take on as heavy of armor. Laws are generally used for what we consider soft targets. Stuff like troop transport trucks, gun trucks, shit like that. That is what the Law is made for, to take out soft targets. Next, we have the M3 Carl Gustav, or the Maus. Now the Maus is essentially the bigger brother to the AT4. And my error earlier, AT4 is 84 mil. Now the AT4 and the Maus are very closely related to each other. They're the same caliber essentially, but they are not the same round. Alright, the Maus round is much fucking bigger than the AT4 round. Alright, yes, it's the same size tube, but the Maus is a much bigger round. If you don't understand the difference between those two, I cannot fucking help you. Now the Maus is carried by anti-armor gunners within the unit. Alright, so in the weapon squad, there are, just like the machine gunners, there's 2 anti-armor gunners. They can carry this weapon system, the M3 Maus. Now, the Maus is an 84mm recoilless rifle. So it is reloadable. Alright, so unlike the AT4 that is single fire only, or single use only, the M3 can be reused, can be reloaded. Now, it has an effective range of 1,000 meters. Although, keep in mind, that's a very loose effective range, especially in ARMA. Sometimes you can hit something at 1,000 meters and it destroys it no problem. Sometimes it'll hit it in the exact same spot, does absolutely dick all to it. Alternatively, I've seen something like a Tunguska, which is fairly heavily armored, get hit at 1,300 meters and it fucking went catastrophic immediately. So with ARMA being ARMA, you're kind of, you know, in the hands of the ARMA gods in that situation. But the Moz has essentially 4 times the effective distance of the AT4. Now, that being said, in real world, yes, the Moz has multiple different types of ammunition that it can fire, including HE, air burst, all kinds of shit like that. We only use heat, high explosive anti-tank, because it is an anti-armor weapon system for us. So that is all we use. And yes, there is a new Moz. No, we are not using it. No, the regular fucking army is not using it yet. Yes, it is starting to be issued, but just like the new fucking pistol, it'll be probably 10 goddamn years before the army actually gets them in everybody's hands. So you will not be seeing the M4 anytime soon. Next, we have the FGM-148 Javelin missile system. Now the FGM-148, as I said, is a Javelin missile system. There are 2 parts, essentially, to the system. Really, there are 3 parts. Firstly, you have the CLU, or CLU. Alright. Now, the CLU is essentially the targeting portion of the system. Right? That's that big block that you'll see on the side of a Javelin. The CLU is carried separately from the rest of the system. And that's somewhat modeled in ARMA, but not in the sense that you can pull the CLU out and use it to fucking spot targets and shit, because it has thermal capabilities. But you don't see it actually on the tube when you're running around. It just magically appears there when you pull the tube off your back. But that is the way it's actually done. The CLU is carried separately from the tube. Once they need to use the weapon system, they'll pull the tube out, attach the CLU to it, and rock and roll. The other parts of the weapon system being the tube itself, and then the missile itself. Now, Javelin missile is very unique, not only in the way it fires, but especially in the way it sounds. Now, when one of those fires, if you've never seen it in real life, the missile will essentially make a loud thump, almost like a 40 mil, but louder, and go out a couple feet out in front of the tube before the primary engine fires. When the primary engine fires, that's when it fucking takes off, and you'll see it go pretty much straight up into the air. That is the distinctive feature of the Javelin missile system. It has top-down attack capability. So it can lock onto a target, fly way the fuck up in the air, and come down directly on top of that piece of armor, which in armor, top plate is inherently the weakest piece of armor. So, top-down attack from Javelin, incredibly fucking useful. And it is hands down the most powerful piece of anti-armor that we have. Javelins will kill damn near anything with a single hit. And as I said, it has a very distinctive sound when fired. You can hear a Javelin fire from a fucking click and a half out, no problem. And every time you hear one of those fire, it's a good sound, because you know a piece of armor is gonna fucking die. Randall, question.
First, Sergeant, will if a vehicle has like smoke round, will it defeat the Javelin?
No. The reactive armor sometimes will have an effect on it, but again, ARMA is very fucking finicky on it. Sometimes a Javelin will take out a fucking T-90 with reactive armor, absolutely no problem. Other times, it won't do dick all to it. It's just very, very finicky sometimes. That answer your question?
Roger, First Sergeant.
Alright. However, the Javelin is capable of engaging and eliminating targets beyond 2 kilometers. So it has by far the longest range of any of the anti-armor systems. And as I said, very distinctive sound, as does the Maws. The Maws also has a very distinctive sound. You'll hear a very loud ping every time that thing goes off. Almost like an old M1 Garand on steroids. Every time you hear that ping, you know that's a Maws that just fired. Alright, moving on from our shoulder-fired munitions. We then go into our thrown munitions. Alright, first one we're going to cover is the M67 fragmentation grenade. Now the M67 consists of a pre-fragmented steel body with 6.5 ounces of explosives inside and a 3.2 to 4.2 second fuse. It has a kill radius of 15 meters and a fragmentation dispersal radius of up to 230 meters. Make goddamn sure when you throw one, you are well behind cover. Now, the reason I bring up the fuse. Every frag grenade has a fuse on it. That fuse does not start burning until you release the spoon on the grenade. The spoon is that long handle looking thing coming off of the top. When you pull the pin, that frees the spoon. When you release the spoon, that begins burning the fuse. Alright. Now the reason I bring that up is because in game we can cook a grenade. To cook a grenade means you're burning the fuse. Alright, so when you're holding that grenade and you let go of the spoon and that fuse starts burning, you're now cooking the grenade. Longer you hold it, longer it cooks. Hold it too long, you're going to get fucking burned. Cooking a grenade is hands down the most terrifying fucking thing you will ever do in person. I can tell you now, when they say, alright, release the spoon, count to 2, and then throw it. When you release the spoon, you count to 2 faster than you have ever counted in your life, and then you throw that thing as hard as you possibly fucking can. Now, as I said, we can cook grenades in Arma. It's kind of the same thing. When you start cooking that grenade, count to 2, and then throw that fucker as quickly as you can. Next, we have M84 Flashbang, or the stun grenade, as it's labeled in the arsenal. Now, the stun grenade is a diversionary device, or a non-lethal device, used for building and room clearing. It consists of a steel body that has a 1.2 to 2.2 second fuse. Upon detonation, it will emit a blinding flash and a deafening bang, hence flashbang. Now, obviously this has a shorter fuse than a frag, 1.2 to 2.2 seconds, so you do not want to cook a fucking flashbang. That is not in your best interest. That being said, unfortunately in Arma, flashbangs don't work quite the same as what they do in real life. If you throw a flashbang into a room that has an enemy inside of it, if it does not fall in their cone of vision, okay, meaning if they have their back to it, it will have no effect on them, which is very fucking annoying. But it's something that we deal with, because if they are looking at it, if it is in their cone of vision, it is incredibly effective. So, don't hesitate to use your flashbangs. We carry them for a reason. Don't hold on to them just because you think, well, AI is not going to react to them anyways. When they do, it's a fucking godsend. Alright, next, we have the M18 smoke grenades. Now, the M18s are a canister type grenade that will emit a large plume of smoke. Now, different smoke colors have different meanings and different uses. White and yellow smoke is used for concealment. Other smokes are used for signaling. So green smoke is used to signal friendly positions. Red smoke is used to signal enemy positions. Do not ever pop red smoke on a friendly position. If you do accidentally pop red smoke on an enemy position, make sure you radio it up your chain of command fucking immediately. Right, because if air assets see that red smoke, they start going into fucking overdrive. Because they know that means the enemy is close enough to us that we can throw red smoke to them. Which tells them they need to get to fucking work. Next, we have blue smoke. Blue smoke is used to mark a broken chain of command. That one, hopefully, you're never going to have to fucking deal with. Next, we have orange smoke. Orange smoke is carried by team leaders as well as TAC-Ps. Now, team leaders will use orange smoke to mark the position of demolitions. So every team leader carries an M112 demolition block. When they place that block and put their detonator on it, they will then pop an orange smoke on that position and get the fuck out of there. JTACs carry it to mark LZ sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes they will mark an LZ with orange smoke. So that being said, if at any point in time you're out in the field and you see orange smoke, stay the fuck away from it. One of two things is going to happen. Either A, that entire area is going to fucking explode, or B, a helicopter is going to land there. Both of which you do not want happening on your fucking face, so stay away from orange smoke. Next, we have purple smoke. Purple smoke is used to mark an MCI, or a mass casualty incident, or generally just referred to as a mass cas. Purple smoke is only carried by 68 whiskeys, our medics. Alright, they're the ones that dictate whether it's an MCI or not. Alright, so if you see purple smoke, stay the fuck away from it. Unless you are told to go over there and aid in some way, whether it be doing CPR, setting up security, whatever. Otherwise, stay the fuck away from purple smoke. Alright, any questions on the smoke colors?
Negative, First Sergeant.
Alright, outstanding. Alright, what we're going to do now is we are going to actually head out to the range and get you guys familiarized with the different weapon systems that we have covered here. Alright, so go ahead and use your scroll wheel, stand up, and follow me outside. And Pesco, thank you very much for that Prime subscription and for the follow. I appreciate it. Sorry guys, I haven't really been able to hang out and bullshit. I got a lot of talking that I got to do today, considering Myers is not here. I'm all on my own. But I do appreciate you guys hanging out. Yeah, make sure you put your arm out there in front. Alright, you're going to approach this flag here. You'll look at it, use your scroll wheel, and hit space when you see weapon range complex. Alright, follow me. Alright, stand by here for a moment. Alright, I want you guys to approach this arsenal box over here. I want you both to load a rifleman loadout.
First Sergeant will only let me load base loadout and grenadier.
Load the base loadout, or sorry, load the rifleman loadout anyways. Even if it's grayed out, it should still let you load it.
Copy.
Means you got something in your fucking loadout that shouldn't be. Alright. Now, first thing I want you guys to do is open your inventory, move the magazine from underneath your rifle over into your vest, backpack, wherever the fuck you put it, I don't care, but condition for that weapon before you end up shooting me in the fucking dick. Now, once you have done that, you can also remove your night vision, because I promise you, you will not need it. Now, once you have done that, I want you to press the number 7 on your number row on your keyboard so that you go to your non-lethal grenades, mostly so you do not accidentally frag my ass. Anytime that you go into a server and you grab a loadout, as soon as you have grabbed that gear and you leave that arsenal, hit that number 7. Very simply, it is a good goddamn way to make sure that you never bad frag. Alright, to bad frag means to throw a fucking frag where it should not be. If that should ever happen to you, immediately start yelling as loud as you can, bad frag, whilst you are running the fuck away. Run for 2 seconds, and then put your dick in the dirt, and hope that you do not get any shrapnel in your ass cheeks. Alright? Put your dick in the dirt because grenades explode up and outwards. So, run away, hit the deck. Alright? You guys tracking?
Tracking, First Sergeant.
Alright. Now, when it comes to throwing a grenade, first and foremost, before you throw a grenade, you are going to say the type of grenade and then out. So if it's a frag grenade, you're going to say frag out and then throw the grenade. Do not say frag out while the fucking thing is already in hang time. It defeats the goddamn purpose of saying frag out. It is a warning to everyone else around you that you are throwing a fucking grenade. Get behind cover. So you will say frag out and then throw the fucking thing. Same goes for any other type of grenade. If it's a flash grenade, you say flash out and then throw it. Smoke out and then throw it. Smoke isn't as important because it's not necessarily like you need to get behind fucking cover, but it's still good practice. Now, I want you both to put your earplugs in via Ace Interact. Go ahead and do that now. So, as an example, anytime someone throws a frag grenade, you should get behind cover. So, go ahead and get yourselves lined up behind these fucking sandbags. So, when someone throws a frag grenade, it will sound something like this. Frag out. And then get down behind cover. Perfect. And that is exactly how it's done. Alright, you guys tracking?
Tracking.
Affirm.
Alright, good, because Bateman, you're going to do it next.
Copy.
Now, to throw a grenade by default is the golf key. Is in G. Alright, but we're going to change that. Alright, so I want you guys to hit escape, go to configure, and then controls. Up at the top, you're going to see a drop-down menu. You're going to go to that weapons control. Then you're going to scroll down about halfway to where you see it say throw. And it should say G as in golf. You guys see that?
Roger.
Alright. You're going to click that, and you're going to delete that fucking hotkey. So you will click on that, then you will click on where it says G, and then just click delete. And then you will hit OK. So now it should say throw and nothing after it, correct?
Affirm.
Alright. Now, down at the bottom of that box where it says configure add-ons, I want you to click that. Now up at that drop down, I want you to hit that drop down and go to Ace 3 Weapons. Now I want you to scroll down to the third from the bottom where it says throwable, or sorry, fourth from the bottom where it says prepare, change, throwable. You're going to click that and make that hotkey G as in golf. Now, once you have done that, that will make the Ace Advanced Throw your default throw mode for your grenade, so that you can very easily see the arc that your grenade is going to follow, as well as quickly change it with your mouse wheel from a regular throw to a high throw. Alright, so, Bateman, when you are ready, hit the number 6 on your number row and select a frag grenade, and put a grenade down range.
Copy. Frag out.
Perfect. Randall, when you are ready.
Frag out.
Shit.
That is where you yell bad frag and run away.
God damn it.
Now you have dropped the grenade instead of throwing the grenade. Now have you really realized the error in your fucking ways? Randall, are you in pain?
Roger that, First Sergeant. A little bit, not bad.
Let me know when the screen flashing stops.
Clear. On the flash.
Alright. So, would you like to try that again without dropping a grenade at your fucking feet?
Roger that, First Sergeant.
At your leisure.
Frag out. Correction. Didn't throw.
Alright, now you're just being a cock tease. And you dropped the grenade again. Congratulations, you have killed yourself more than any other fucking student I have ever had.
I'm good now, First Sergeant.
Alright, stand up. At no point in time did I ever tell you to hit the number 8 on your keyboard. I want you to hit the number 8 now until it says normal throw.
There it is.
Even though that should not matter. Now when you press golf, do you see the white line of dots pop up on your screen?
Roger that, First Sergeant.
Alright, and then you left click and it throws, correct?
Roger, just some.
Only in your case it does not throw, it does a fucking sissy throw and drops it at your fucking feet.
For A for him.
Alright, I want you to press the number 7. You now have non-lethal grenade selected, correct?
Correct, First Sergeant.
Alright, I want you to throw a smoke out there.
Smoke out. Right at my feet.
First Sergeant, you might need to scroll wheel to make it throw farther again.
Alright, we're gonna try this one more time and see if you possess more arm strength than a fucking 100-year-old woman. So, when you press golf, I want you to scroll wheel and make sure those white dots are going way the fuck out there and not in a tall arc right in front of you.
I got it, First Sergeant.
Try it again.
Smoke out. Nope. Every time I hit the control key to communicate, it drops it to the short range.
You should probably change your fucking hotkey then.
Roger. I gotta do on TeamSpeak first. That's my top key on TeamSpeak.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm waiting for you to change it. I am not Catholic and you are not Christ, so I am not waiting this long for the second fucking coming. Make it today.
I'm working on it first.
Yeah, good bed frag practice. No, guys, the settings are not wrong. We do not use fucking instant death or anything like that. So, no, it is not amazing that he fucking fragged himself and I was able to get him back up.
I give up.
Alright, you got it square away?
Negative first. It's pissed at myself.
Say again?
I am ticked off at myself first.
Well, congratulations, that makes two of you that are fucking annoyed. Or two of us. Alright, do you know how to change your fucking hotkey in TeamSpeak?
I can't figure it out right now first.
Alright, in your TeamSpeak, up at the top where it says Tools, I want you to click that and then go down to the very bottom where it says Settings. Alright, you have that settings window pulled up?
Roger first.
Or options, whatever the fuck it is. Alright, over on the left side, the tab that says Capture. In there, you're going to see where it says Push to Talk, and the little white dot is checked. Next to that, you're going to see the hotkey. You click on that hotkey, and it'll allow you to change it.
Fixed.
Alright. Now let's try this again without throwing a grenade at your feet. That is not a grenade. We'll go over that shortly.
Hit the wrong button. Grab the wrong key.
Thankfully, he cannot fire the fucking AT-4 without prepping it. I have no idea what is going on here. Quite literally only needs to press G and then click.
I'll recycle to the next class first.
All you need to do is hit Golf, as in G.
Why When I change my key, I press the key that's being used for something else.
Your hotkey for TeamSpeak?
I gotta go into my configure and see which key is not being used and set up my TS on that.
Alright. This is what we're going to do. Do that now with a quickness. I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to get that squared away. Bateman, go ahead and take a piss, grab something to drink, fucking rub one out, whatever the hell it is you need to do. You got 5 minutes.
Copy, 5 minutes.
Alright, I am going to take this moment myself to take a piss and refresh my fucking coffee before I have a goddamn aneurysm. So I'll be right back, guys. Alright, I am back. That's alright, I don't really mind. I've definitely had people that were worse, and at least this guy is trying. I don't really bust people's balls too bad when it comes to key bindings and shit like that, just because if you've never played Arma before, this game has a fuck ton of key bindings, and it's incredibly fucking difficult to figure it all out. Like, I don't hate on people too much for not being able to figure out all the controls and shit. It's way different than any other goddamn shooter in the world. Yeah, exactly. If I didn't have the fucking all the buttons on my mouse for like my radios and shit like that, oh my god. It would drive me fucking nuts. Alright, Randall, how are we looking?
I think I've got it figured out for Sergeant.
Alright. Let's go ahead and try and throw a smoke out there whenever you're ready.
Smoke out.
There we go. Out fucking standing. So, this brings us on to our next part. If you guys hold shift and press K, as in kilo, you'll see an arrow pop up in the top left corner of your screen. Alright, this is a windage indicator. Since you can't really lick your fucking finger in game and hold it up in the air and know which way the wind is going, you use this. All right, that arrow and those dots show you the direction and the strength of the wind. This is incredibly important when using smoke. All right, this lets you know what way that plume of smoke is going to be blown by the wind. So if we needed to cover the entirety of this range out here so that we could move across without being seen from the other end, we know by looking at that windage indicator, all right, wind is going to carry that smoke from left to right. So we need to throw it over to the left side so that it carries the smoke across to the right. All right, you guys tracking on that?
Tracking
Paper.
first on.
All right, again, this is very fucking important when using smoke. Okay, when you have, say, an open field that you need to cover, you have an entire squad of guys. If everybody throws smoke at the same time, you now have 10 goddamn smoke grenades out there doing the job that 2 smoke grenades could do. All right, so you need to coordinate amongst yourselves not only who is going to throw the smoke, but how many smokes you really need. And that is going to be based upon wind strength and direction. All right, so that becomes very, very fucking important. All right, now follow me. We're going to head over to the AT range. All right. Stand by for a second. No, not really. 10 smoke grenades ain't that bad. Alright, how or why you guys have them, I'm not sure, and thank you Sergeant O'Leary for catching that. I am surprised I didn't. But I want you guys to step over to that arsenal box, go to the helmet tab, and swap out that fucking 506 helmet that you guys are wearing with one without a spade on it. You guys have not earned that fucking spade yet, so walk over to that box and swap out to a regular OCH helmet. Helps if I unmute my microphone. God damn it. Alright, Sergeant O'Leary, thank you for catching that. I did not. I want you guys to walk over to that arsenal box. Right over there. Go to that helmets tab and grab a regular OCH helmet. You do not wear that 506 helmet. You have not earned that spade yet. Alright, there we go. So, go ahead and approach the sandbags.
Probably maybe care to lose the headset.
Copy.
I will PT you all until you fucking die!
Okay.
Army, thank you for the follow. Also, Gilly, thank you for the follow. Alright, so now we're going to go over how to fire the AT-4. So, first and foremost, there's a set of steps you're going to go through to fire this thing. However, before we actually cover the AT-4, the first thing we're going to go over is your vectors. So, I want you guys to approach the sandbags up here, and then press B, as in Bravo, and pull out your vectors. You do not have vectors. Stand by. Alright, why don't you guys step back behind us there to that set of boxes under the cargo net and grab a vector. Alright, with your vectors out, if you right click, you'll look inside of the vectors. Now the vectors will give you a couple pieces of important information. If you hold R on something, you will see a little red circle pop up. That is R as in Romeo. Once that red circle pops up, if you let go of Romeo, it will give you a series of numbers. Those numbers are the range to that object. Alternatively, if you hold tab and then let go, it will give you the azimuth of that object. Azimuth is the bearing. Alright, so this will give you 2 of the 3 things you need to put someone on target. Those 3 things are distance, direction, description. Alright, 3 Ds. Always remember that. Distance, direction, description. You give someone the 3 Ds, they can find anything and kill it. So, when a piece of armor is spotted in the area, first thing that will happen is the rifleman and his battle buddy, which is generally going to be the grenadier, are going to be dispatched to eliminate that armor. Now the grenadier is going to pull his vectors, because he's going to act as spotter. He is then going to find the target and get that information. The distance, the direction, and the description. Alright, so he'll be able to say, if say we were engaging that vehicle, he'd be able to say GAZ bearing 116, whatever the distance is. So now that guy with the AT4, the rifleman, can turn to bearing 116, see, oh, there's a GAZ at that distance. Alright, eyes on. Now once he has eyes on, it is now on that rifleman to have the weapon system ready and prepare to fire. Now in order to do that, he is going to pull the AT4 off of his back. Once he pulls the AT4 off of the back, he is going to ready the weapon system by pressing Romeo. Once he does that, the sight for the AT4 will pop up, and it is ready to fire. You cannot fire the AT4 without first prepping it. So once the weapon system is prepped, he will then range it to the target. You range it by pressing page up and page down. So he would set it to the closest range to the target. AT4 ranges in increments of 50 meters. So if the target is 200 meters away, he'd range it to 200 meters. Put his post on the target. He is now ready to fire. He is not, however, going to fire yet. First, he is going to give the command of clear backblast. Notice I said command, not fucking request. So you say clear backblast, and then your spotter will look behind you to see if your backblast is clear. Now when it comes to the AT4, if you look over at the AT4 I am holding right now, you see that cone at the back of it. Pretty much the whole 180 behind this weapon system is a fucking no-go area. So if someone is firing an AT4, you either want to be shoulder to shoulder with them or slightly in front of them so that you are not hit by backblast. So again, once you have the weapon prepped and ranged, you will call clear backblast and then wait. The spotter will then reply with either backblast clear or backblast not clear. Backblast clear means there is no one there. You are clear to fire. Backblast not clear means there is someone there. You are not clear to fire. So if they respond with backblast not clear, you will then say again the exact same order, clear backblast, and make sure you are on yelling when you do so. After you say clear backblast the second time, your spotter will then again look behind you, and they will respond the same way, either backblast clear or backblast not clear. However, for us, If the second time they respond with backblast not clear, you're clear to fire. Alright? Engaging and eliminating that piece of armor is more important than some dumbass that's going to get knocked on his fucking face because he's too stupid to get out of the way of the backblast. So if they respond a second time with backblast not clear, you're clear to fire. If they respond with backblast clear, then you're clear to fire. So, when you get that clear, you will then say rocket and then fire. Alright, so it's just like when you say frag out, you say rocket, wait a second, and then you fire. Alright? Again, make sure you're on yelling for this. Alright? The whole reason you are saying rocket is A, so everybody knows there's a fucking rocket about to come flying out of that tube. B, majority of the time, you're going to have someone else around you with another AT stick prepped and ready to go for a follow-up shot in case you miss or yours isn't effective, so on and so forth. Someone's going to be there with a follow-up shot. But they need to know when you're firing so that you don't fire at the same time. Because if you fire and it is effective, you don't want them to shoot and waste their AT. Alright, so again, make sure you yell rocket, wait a second, and then fire. Alright, you guys tracking?
Hey, firm.
Alright, what we're going to do is you guys are going to do this on your own. One of you is going to fire, one of you is going to spot, and then you guys are going to fucking reverse your rolls. I do not care what the hell you aim at out here. You can aim at the fucking yellow pop-up targets for all I give a shit. Alright, what this is about is the proper procedure as far as finding a target, getting eyes on, and engaging it with the AT-4. Alright? I don't care which one of you fires first, which one of you spots first. That's entirely up to you. Alright? Go ahead and figure it out. Whenever you guys are ready, begin.
I'll spot first for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a GAZ at
Yeah, you got his keys figured out.
3. Distance is 108 meters.
Yeah, good old 3Ds.
What was the range again?
Oh yeah, Ghost Wolf. The fucking backblast is powerful. I mean, I've seen it straight up knock guys on their ass.
Backblast.
I mean, backblast in real world will fucking injure you.
This is clear.
Rocket.
Good hit. Alright, and we can reverse.
Although I will say the CS variants of the AT4s are a lot fucking nicer. We don't use them out here on the range, but we do use them.
UAZ. Azimuth 141.
Copy range.
296.
Copy 296. Clear backblast.
Backblast is not clear.
Clear backblast.
Backblast is clear.
Rocket.
Good hit.
Alright, that was perfect, with one exception. Randall, I want you to look at Bateman and tell me the difference.
I didn't have an AT4 up ready for a follow-up shot.
Nope. What is the difference between the two of you right now?
My weapon wasn't at the ready.
No. Give you a hint. It's big, it's green, and it's still on your back. And it's not my fucking penis, I promise you. There you go. Remember, as soon as you fire that AT-4, drop it on the ground. Now, it may seem trivial, alright, but I promise you it is not. That AT-4 being on your back empty can cause big fucking problems. If you're running around, say in an operation, and you used your AT-4, and for some reason, you forgot to throw it on the ground or whatever. Okay, not a big deal, you think. However, if a situation arises where a BTR rolls up on your position, and your squad leader comes running over to you saying, hey, prep your AT-4, we got a BTR right here engaging us, and then you tell him, oh, well, it's empty. Now you're fucked. You don't have any AT. Now he's got to either go find the other rifleman that's got the law and hope he hasn't used his, or they got to call another squad over there to take care of it. And so while it may seem like a very small mistake, it can cause larger ramifications. So always remember, once you fire that AT-4, drop that fucker on the ground. Alright? Any questions on the AT-4?
Negative, first on.
Negative.
Alright. Follow me. Yeah, it is unnecessary weight, but in actuality, an AT-4, empty AT-4 tube fucking basically weighs nothing. It's made out of fiberglass. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is go over some of the different rifles that we use. The first thing we're going to cover is the M4. Now, what we're going to cover is different rates of fire. Okay, there are 3 different rates of fire for the M4. There's sustained, there's rapid, and there's cyclic. Alright. Now, a sustained rate of fire consists of 1 round every 2 to 3 seconds and is used for targets beyond 250 meters. Alright, so it's a way for you to accurately engage a target at distance. Now, to give you guys an example, a sustained rate of fire is going to sound something like this. Alright, so that would be a sustained rate of fire. Now, a rapid rate of fire would be doubling that. So 2 rounds every 2 to 3 seconds. This is for targets inside of 250 meters. This is generally where you're going to hear double taps. Okay, so when a target's inside of 250 meters, put 2 in his chest. Okay, so rapid rate of fire is going to sound like this. Alright, very simple. Now lastly, a cyclic rate of fire with the M4. For a cyclic rate of fire, you're going to flip the fun switch. Alright, so you're going to take it from semi-automatic to fully automatic. However, cyclic rate of fire does not mean you just hold down the trigger and fucking let her eat. Alright, you're going to burn through way too much ammo, and it's highly fucking inaccurate. Cyclic rate of fire is used for targets inside of 100 meters. But you're going to fire in bursts of 3 to 5 rounds. Right? So, a cyclic rate of fire with the M4 is going to sound something like this. Alright, very simple. Now, a cyclic rate of fire, as I said, is used for enemies that are close. However, that differs a little bit when, say, you're working in CQB. Alright, CQB is close quarters battle. In other words, in a house or a building. Alright, you breach a house, you first and foremost want your weapon on full auto. Secondly, when you breach a house and you engage a target inside of your room, you do not fire in burst. You put 5-6 rounds into him as quickly as you possibly can, or until he stops moving. That simple. You pull that trigger and hold that trigger down until you know for goddamn sure he is dead and regrets his fucking life choices. CQB is incredibly fucking dangerous, and the last thing you want to do is not kill your target. But that is the only time when targets are that close, that's when you're going to truly go cyclic. Alright, otherwise, cyclic is 3 to 5 round burst every couple of seconds. Alright? Guys tracking on that?
Tracking for thought.
Affirm.
Alright. Stand by for a moment. I don't know if you would call 650 billion a year proper. Probably a little excessive, but yeah, we have a budget. Oh, I'm like fucking Rambo. Have a saw and an AT-4. Alright, next we are going to cover the saw. So when it comes to the saw, still 3 rates of fire, same ones, sustained, rapid, and cyclic. Alright, but as we went over earlier, with the saw, first and foremost you fire in burst. So a sustained rate of fire consists of a 3 to 5 round burst every 2 to 3 seconds. Now, an easy way to achieve that 3 to 5 round burst is to memorize this phrase: die motherfucker die. Alright, you say that phrase in your head while you're holding down the trigger, that'll give you a 3 to 5 round burst. Please say it in your head, because if you say it out loud, you sound like a fucking psycho. Alright, so with a saw, sustained rate of fire sounds something like this. Now a rapid rate of fire, just like with the M4, is doubling that. So instead of 3 to 5 rounds, yep, 5 to 10 rounds every couple of seconds. So it would sound something like this. And same goes for cyclic. You are essentially doubling that rate of fire yet again. So you have 10 to 15 rounds every 2 to 3 seconds. So a cyclic rate of fire would sound something like this. Now, as you can imagine, a cyclic rate of fire on a saw will burn through a lot of goddamn ammo really quick. Now, one of the ways around this is a technique known as talking guns. Talking guns is a technique that 2 machine guns will use to conserve ammo while maintaining a higher rate of fire. Now, the way this is done is if you take 2 automatic riflemen, and say they were sitting right here, one right next to me and myself, alright? 2 automatic riflemen. One will fire a burst at a sustained rate of fire, so he'll fire a single 3 to 5 round burst. In that 2 to 3 seconds that he's pausing, the other gun will fire their 3 to 5 round burst, and then they'll alternate back and forth. While one is pausing, one is firing. Back and forth, until the first gun goes empty. He'll then call that he's reloading. That means the second gun now needs to pick up his rate of fire to a rapid rate of fire to make up for that first gun being down. Once that first gun is reloaded, then the second gun will reload. So that means the first gun needs to start with a rapid rate of fire to make up for that second gun being down. Once he's reloaded, he'll call gun up, and then they'll both fall back into a sustained rate of fire. So even though both of them are only doing a sustained rate of fire, only going through 3 to 5 rounds every couple of seconds, they're maintaining a rapid rate of fire between the 2 of them. Alright, makes sense?
Affirm.
Affirm.
Alright. Now, this is a technique that can be done with any machine guns and any number of machine guns. It could be 2 machine guns, it could be fucking 20 machine guns. If guys can pay attention to who fires last and who fires next, it can be done. Now, that being said, why these rates of fire are so important? A, fucking ammo conservation. Alright? We go out into the field with a finite amount of ammo. Right? You do not just magically generate more fucking ammunition in your backpack. And there is never a guarantee of resupply. You have to keep in mind we are air assault. So should we air assault in behind enemy lines, there is a possibility we're not going to be able to get a helicopter back in there to resupply us unless we eliminate potential threats. And so, again, there's never a guarantee that we're going to get resupplied. So if you're carrying your M4 and you go out there in full battle rattle with 12 fucking magazines, that's what you have for the entire operation. So if you're heavily engaged for 3 hours straight and you're not conserving your ammo, there's a good chance you're going to fucking run out. And now you have to rely on your buddies who were conserving their ammo to hook you up with some. Or you have to pick up fucking enemy weaponry, which increases your risk fucking greatly of potential blue on blue. Because we know what enemy weapon systems sound like. So when we hear them, we instantly identify that with the enemy and go to engage that area. Now granted, guys should be properly identifying their fucking targets and shouldn't engage you, but still, you're increasing your risk of blue on blue by having to pick up enemy weaponry. So ammo conservation is hugely important. Secondly, those rates of fire, when you take into account the entirety of your squad. So say you're in a rifle squad, okay? There's 10 guys in that rifle squad. So there's 8 M4s and 2 249s. If all 10 of you are engaging the same group of targets, that is a metric fuck ton of lead being thrown downrange by 10 people. So you do not have to have a rapid rate of fire when your entire squad is engaging a set of targets. You can very easily do a sustained rate of fire, and if everybody in that squad is doing a sustained rate of fire, you are throwing a wall of lead at those targets. Alright? So just keep that in mind when you're out in an operation. Ammo conservation with rates of fire, and also smart engagement. Alright? Understand that you don't need 10 fucking people to engage a single foot mobile. Yes, overkill is underrated, but if 10 guys are engaging a single foot mobile, then that means somebody's not watching their fucking sector, and it means you're probably about to get flanked. Alright, you guys tracking on that?
A-firm.
A-firm.
Alright, any questions on any of the shit we have covered so far?
Negative, First Sergeant.
Alright, what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes or so to familiarize yourselves with the rifles you're carrying, as well as any of the rifles that are over in that Connex box behind you. You're going to have free fucking run of this range. However, do not fire fucking HE on my rifle range. That means you are not throwing 40 mics out there, or frag grenades, or fucking AT-4 rockets, or any stupid shit like that. This is my rifle range. Do not fuck it up with HE. Is that understood?
A-firm, First Sergeant.
Alright. One of you take this bay here. One of you move over to the other bay. You guys are clear to begin engagement whenever the hell you're ready, and you're clear to use any of those rifles that are in that box. Range is hot. I don't know, Ghost Wolf. Most people that listen to dope would, well, normal people would probably think we're psycho. But I agree, I do like that song. Another fun-filled day of OSUT. Yeah, hat trick. First day of OSUT. And as a reminder, guys, I will not be here tomorrow for OSUT. I've got anniversary stuff to do. But I will be here tomorrow night for the operation. So tomorrow at 8 p.m. I will be streaming for the operation, just not for OSUT. And Savage, thank you for the follow. Mind you, your drill instructor back at Paris Island. In that case, I am sorry. That's I actually talked about on a podcast a little while back. Me and Hammer were talking about like good military movies and shit. And to this day, the best representation I've ever seen in a movie, as far as a drill instructor, drill sergeant, you know, any of those, was Early Army, and no, it was not Full Metal Jacket. He got Full Metal Jacket because of, you know, what he's able to do and based upon this movie. But if you want to see a really good representation of a drill instructor in the late 60s, going into Vietnam, go watch the movie The Boys in Company C. Early Army, this was not long after he got out of the military. But he plays a drill instructor, but he has a whole cadre with him. Unlike fucking Full Metal Jacket, where somehow because he's the senior instructor, he's the only fucking person there. Yeah, in Boys in Company C, he has the actual cadre there with him, so it's not just Early Army. Yeah, fucking great movie and great depiction of, you know, what it was to go through basic for the Marines in the late 60s. Yeah, Sergeant Myers will be handling day 2 tomorrow. No, Cope. We didn't have to completely change it up, just reschedule. Yeah, everybody, you know, obviously I love Early Army. That's the reason he's my fucking alert sound. But everybody thinks of him from Full Metal Jacket. Well, you know, that was a great movie and shit. I more so prefer the earlier shit that he did, like Boys in Company C, Siege at Firebase Gloria. Like, those were good movies. Probably one of my favorite movies, or favorite scenes from any movie, is from Siege at Firebase Gloria, when Early Army is talking about how there is no such thing as an atheist in a combat situation. I fucking love it. Yeah, he's like, there is no such thing as an atheist in a combat situation. I myself, I don't take any chances. I pray to Buddha, Allah, Jesus H. Christ himself. It is so fucking good. And then later on in the movie, he's talking about like dropping sectors or something like that. And one of their guys on watch ended up getting snuck up on by VC, and they fucking lopped his head off. And he's walking through the firebase, giving this fucking speech, basically about like not dropping your sector and staying aware and shit, while he's holding this dude's severed fucking head. It is hilarious. Myers does stream sometimes, but he doesn't stream OSUT. Going to get Arma 3 soon and plan on doing Milsim. Would you recommend the 506 for someone new? If so, what could you tell me about it? Well, I mean, of course I would recommend it because it's my unit, so yeah. But I mean, it's entirely dependent on what type of style you're looking for, man. Like, doing realism like this is not for everyone. That's for sure. So it's, to me, there's a difference between milsim and realism. So it's dependent on what style you're looking for, bud. Yeah, they definitely don't make them like they used to. Especially after playing that fucking piece of shit Call of Duty last night. Oh my god, that game had me so fucking pissed off. Even after we were done, me and Burke started playing some Destiny 2. And like an hour later, I was still fucking pissed off at that game. Like oh my god. Cannot believe the fucking, I mean, like I told Burke, I know, like, the guys from the first ID obviously were cool with it, because it's, like, free promotion for them, but still, like, I don't understand how, like, the CO could look at that and be like, yeah, it's a good representation of my unit, or, you know, like, I can't, with good conscience, think that an actual World War II vet from the Big Red One could look at that game and say, yeah, that's accurate as to what we did. Like, I would have to think that game would just piss them the fuck off, because they did such a disservice to probably the most well-known fucking unit in the entirety of the US fucking military. And you want to see, like, you want to see the Big Red One depicted at least half-assed decently? Go watch the movie The Big Red One with Lee Marvin, alright? That is a fucking depiction of the Big Red One, fighting through fucking Africa, at Kasserine, going into fucking France, and Germany, and like, that's the fucking Big Red One, not fucking piece of shit Call of Duty. Fucking bullshit-ass game. And if you guys don't know who Lee Marvin is, I'm sorry you lived a depraved fucking childhood. Yeah, entirely possible I had a stroke. I damn near did. Like, that game gave me one hell of a fucking headache, dude. Like, I physically had a headache from being so pissed off. Oh, it was dog shit cope. Like, I made it through, I think, 4 or 5 missions before I finally said, fuck this, and shut it off. I don't understand why they needed to Hollywood it up, dude. Like, fucking First ID is, like I said, probably the most well-known fucking US military unit in the world. Like, they don't need to Hollywood it up, dude. They did amazing shit during World War II. You do not need to fucking, like, throw in all this extra, like, chasing a train and all that. You don't need to Michael Bay it. They were badass motherfuckers in real life. Alright, ceasefire, ceasefire. Go ahead and rally down here in front of me. Alright. Any questions on anything that we have covered today? Now is the time to ask. Alright, I don't care how stupid you fucking think it is. The only dumb question is the one that is not asked, alright? So any questions on anything that we have covered today?
Hey, First Sergeant, when we call up an engagement, like when we were doing the AT-4, do we send up a salute report to the team leader and go from there?
Yep, that's going to be stuff that you guys are going to go over tomorrow in the patrol fundamentals, as far as your salute reports, ADIRAC reports, ACE reports, stuff like that.
Roger, First Sergeant.
Alright, any other questions?
Not that I can think of.
Negative, First Sergeant.
Alright. Then that is going to be it for today. Alright. No, you guys had a lot of fucking information thrown at you today. There was a lot of lecture and shit. Tomorrow, gonna be a little bit more of the same, but you're gonna get a little bit more time on the weapon systems and stuff. You're gonna do some more live fire, actually engaging targets, being engaged, so on and so forth. But tomorrow we're gonna be back in here, same bat time, same bat channel. Alright, make sure you guys are on time. you don't know what on time is, it means you're 15 fucking minutes early. Make sure you are on time and ready to go. As I told you, Sergeant Myers is going to be taking care of you tomorrow since I will not be here. From this point until you are done with OSUT, I am your direct chain of command. Meaning if you have any questions, concerns, problems, so on and so forth, you fucking bring it to me. Preferably send me a message on the forums. Alright, but if you can catch me in TeamSpeak, that's fine. But you bring it to me, no one else. That means you do not go to the commanding fucking officer of the infantry company and say, hey, how do I do this with my mods? Fuck off. He is not in your chain of command. Your chain of command consists of me. If for some reason, if I do not respond back to you within a 48-hour window, then you go to Sergeant Myers, my assistant instructor. He will then take care of you. But I will tell you now, when you go to Sergeant Myers, the first question he will ask you is, did you contact the first sergeant? If your answer is no, he will tell you to fuck off. Is that understood?
Roger that, First Sergeant.
Affirm.
All right. As I said, that's it. Good job today. You guys are dismissed. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon.
Thank you.
Enjoy your anniversary, First Sergeant.
May I add something, First Sergeant?
Alright guys, that is going to be it today. Yes, dropping a live frag at your feet is definitely very, very bad. Yeah, so that's it guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. As I said, we're not going to be doing OSUT tomorrow. And Canadian and Black Sky, thank you guys for the follows. We will be back at it, though, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern for Task Force Alpha, where I will be filling in. Drum is going to be Task Force Commander. I'll be filling in. I'm not sure where yet. But yeah, that's going to be it. And I will see you guys later.